Authorities in Newton County, Missouri arrest a suspect in a murder case.
2022's first quarter economic report is out, and it doesn't have good numbers for the administration. I'm Maureen Blanchard in Washington. A look at that report coming up.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Albee. Authorities in Newton County, Missouri identify the body found in a well yesterday and arrest a suspect for murder. A tip led the Newton County Sheriff's Office to a well on this property on Crane Drive, southeast of Seneca. That's where they found a male victim who sent his body off for an autopsy. According to the Joplin Police Department, that victim is Scotty Roller, a 36-year-old from Neosho, Missouri. Roller had been reported missing. Investigators say back on March 18th, Roller had a verbal altercation with another man over the purchase of a vehicle. That man, 40-year-old Damian Fisher from Joplin, shot Roller in the back as he was leaving. Detectives say Fisher and an accomplice dumped Roller's body in the well. Police arrested Fisher during a traffic stop yesterday. He's now being charged with second-degree murder, also armed criminal action. Meteorologist Doug Katie joining us now. Some good news right off the bat, man. Tomorrow's Friday.
It is, and it's going to be a warm, windy day for us today, or for tomorrow. Warmer than what we did see today. Still not bad. We made it up to 70, normal high, 72 degrees, but we had the scattered showers and thunderstorms, especially late morning into the early afternoon. Not a whole bunch going on out there now. There's a couple little tiny showers up in Vernon County, but we are going to get some scattered thunderstorms popping up, especially late tonight and especially into our northern counties. Just kind of hit and miss, though, for the next few hours. So nothing big, nothing strong, nothing severe. We do have a severe threat tomorrow night. We're going to look at that here in just a bit.
All right, Doug, thanks so much. Joplin's first dental school is getting closer to accepting its first class of students. Today, the dental school received $3 million from the Joplin Regional Medical School Alliance. KOAM's Brittany Griner has more on what this money is going to mean for future Joplin dental students.
Joplin is once again one step closer to getting its first dental school. Once completed, it will make Joplin one of the smallest communities with both a medical and a dental school.
When it's completed, the oral health facility, the dental clinic, and the dental education facility will be the most scientifically advanced facility, not just in the United States, but in the world.
On Thursday, KCU Joplin was presented with a $3 million check from the Joplin Regional Medical School Alliance, the first payment as a part of their pledge to the dental school.
The Joplin community has been so supportive of the growth of the medical school and now the development of a new college of dental medicine.
Now, KCU is getting to work so the dental school can welcome its first class of future dentists in the summer of 2023.
We are continuing to build the Oral Health Center and renovate the facility here to become the Dental Education Center, where we'll have classrooms, we'll have study areas for students and faculty offices.
And when it is open, students will have access to unique and state-of-the-art equipment.
We are also investing in a virtual reality simulation. It's almost like sitting at a microscope. You know, you sit, but you put, instead of looking into the microscope, you put a headset on, and you then see an image of a tooth. You pick up a handpiece that feels like a handpiece, and then you drill, and you drill through a tooth.
The university has partnerships in place with community health centers all over the four states, ready to work with Joplin's future dentists. In Joplin, Brittany Griner, KOAM News.
The dental school's dean says their ideal dental student is someone who takes leadership in their community seriously and also wants to make the world a better place. The Oklahoma House has given final approval to a Texas-style ban on abortions. The bill prohibits abortions once cardiac activity can be detected in the fetus. Experts say that's typically about 6 weeks into the pregnancy before some women know they are pregnant. Like Texas, the bill also allows private citizens to sue abortion providers or anyone who helps a woman obtain an abortion for up to $10,000. The bill now heads to Republican Governor Kevin Stitt, who is expected to sign it within days. FDA, Food and Drug Administration, proposing a ban on menthol cigarettes, also flavored cigars, including cigarillos. It would be the most aggressive action taken by the FDA against the industry since Congress gave them the authority to regulate tobacco products back in 2009. Anti-smoking advocates predict the effective date of the ban is at least 2 years away, as the FDA is going to first accept public comments, then write a final regulation that will include time for manufacturers to stop production. Court challenges could also cause a delay in the ban becoming effective. New GDP numbers out today show the economy shrank 1.4% at the beginning of the year. It's the worst quarter in 2 years. Consumers, of course, dealing with higher prices at the grocery store, at the gas pumps too. Lawmakers are trying to come up with some sort of solution. Fox's Lauren Blanchard has these details now from Washington.
The economy shrank 1.4% January to March this year, the worst quarter since 2020's second quarter when the pandemic hit.
No longer are Democrats just presiding over a disappointing recovery. Now they've thrown the recovery into reverse, and we're actually going backward.
Economists expected to see the economy grow.
It's shocking. I really don't know what to say. It's, even below the worst that I thought it might be. I think the chances are at least 50-50 that we'll see a recession over the next year.
The White House downplaying recession fears.
I'm not concerned about a recession. You're always concerned about a recession.
In 2021, the economy rebounded, but with Omicron, the war in Ukraine, supply chain problems, and record high inflation all in the first quarter, it's taking a hit. A new Gallup poll backs that up, finding 76% of Americans believe the economy is getting worse. A top concern, inflation and rising fuel prices.
Passing legislation to fight higher gas prices at the pump is at the very top of our list.
Democrats introducing a bill to allow the Federal Trade Commission and state attorneys general to go after oil companies accused of profiteering and price gouging.
They are hoarding the windfall while keeping prices high for people at the pump.
Republicans argue more spending, like the president's Build Back Better bill and student loan forgiveness, will only drive inflation higher. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
President Biden making an appeal to Congress today for more than $30 billion in new aid for Ukraine. The proposal making it clear the U.S. intends to support Ukraine for the long haul. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera reports now from D.C.
With fears growing that the war in Ukraine could drag on longer than many had thought,
and we need to be prepared for the long term.
President Biden is asking Congress for more money to help Ukraine. $33 billion for military, economic, and humanitarian support, intended to last until September 30th.
The cost of this fight is not cheap, but caving to aggression is going to be more costly if we allow it to happen.
The massive request comes as the Biden administration unveils another proposal to strengthen the United States' ability to investigate, prosecute, and forfeit the assets of Russian oligarchs.
We're going to seize their yachts, their luxury homes, and other ill-begotten gains.
The aid package has broad bipartisan support.
I will make sure the Senate prioritizes this important funding package so we can get help to the Ukrainian people fast. ASAP.
He needs to put a bill on the floor of the Senate that provides the Ukrainian people with the tools they need to win this war.
Meanwhile, the Kremlin is blaming the West for prolonging the conflict. It's an allegation the U.S. has denied, pointing to Russia as the aggressor, as President Putin ramps up his rhetoric regarding nuclear weapons.
We are, of course, will prepare for every scenario, and we will defend the United States and defend our allies and partners as is required.
The push to provide Ukraine with more funding could hit a snag in Congress if the proposal is tied to a stalled COVID relief package. GOP lawmakers are pushing for the two to remain separate. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time to honor another four-state hero. Ryan McConaughey served in the U.S. Army, and we are proud to thank and salute McConaughey, native of Neosho, Missouri. He's tonight's four-state hero. Doug Heddy's next with a complete look at the forecast. A bit later, Pittsburgh martial arts instructor earning his black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Going to hear from him on his journey and how he's bringing the sport to Southeast Kansas in sports.
Well, definitely turned out to be a decent day for us today. Scattered showers and thunderstorms late morning into the early afternoon. We are going to have some additional scattered thunderstorms tonight, especially late tonight into the morning hours. These are mainly going to be north of Interstate 44. Severe threat tomorrow night. I'm not overly concerned, but it's got my attention. Severe threat on Monday, which may be bigger than tomorrow night. And of course, you can get my long-range forecast on my month-long blog, KOAMnewsnow.com. All right, mid-70s yesterday, a little bit cooler for us today, just due to the clouds, the scattered showers and thunderstorms that we had across the region. But temps right now still look pretty good. We're just not going to drop off too much tonight. We're sitting low to mid-60s, then you have upper 60s in our western counties. I think most of us were pretty close to our overnight low. Southerly winds will actually keep our temps up just a little bit. Those south winds at about 5 to 15 miles per hour. 7th and range line looks pretty good. 63 east, southeast winds at about 10 to 15. Humidity is at 75%. All those thunderstorms we had earlier today, non-severe, but we did get some pretty good downpours out of those. Those are gone, just some spotty little tiny showers out there right now. You can see a few little showers trying to pop up in our far northern counties, but overall, we're pretty quiet. I do think we'll get some scattered thunderstorms in our northern counties a little bit later on tonight. Let's go hour by hour. Let's go through time. Here's 4:30 in the morning. Look at the flare-up of showers and thunderstorms. These could be kind of strong, should stay below severe. These will mainly affect Fredonia, Neodesha, Yates Center over toward Iola, Parsons up toward Fort Scott as we go through the overnight hours. So here's 7:30 in the morning. See these scattered storms near Fort Scott, Iola, toward Parsons, and then they lift out. A lot of mid and upper level clouds, but we push 80 by the time we head into the afternoon. So 60 to start, 74 by noon, high temp of 79. It's going to be windy. We're going to have winds gusting over 30 at times. Let's go to 9 p.m. Finally, the cap breaks out across central Kansas. These storms work in. They're not even going to get here until 10, 11 o'clock in our northwestern counties. Now, the greatest severe threat is going to be Yates Center, Fredonia, Neodesha, Independence, Parsons, Erie, Iola, Chanute. As these storms progress southeast, they will start to weaken a little bit, but we could still get some severe storms into the metro. And then I think once they pass by, it's just good old showers and thunderstorms across the region. So that higher threat is in our western counties. But again, and this is tomorrow night, not tomorrow, I'm not overly concerned. I have the tornado threat low. I'll elevate hail, elevate heavy rain. Just something we want to watch as we go through the daytime hours tomorrow. 79, 73 on Saturday, 74 on Sunday. Temperature is great. We do have a severe threat Monday. We do have a severe threat Wednesday. And then we should get about a week break, and then it comes rolling back in.
Tell you what, I got tons of caps at home. I can just throw up in the sky and hope for the best.
There you go.
Not gonna work.
Not with the wind.
It's true. Didn't think about that.
Yeah.
See you a little bit. Thanks so much. Coming up, medical investigation is underway.
Health officials are sounding the alarm after a rise in cases of hepatitis in children across the globe. I'm Molly Line in Boston. I'll have the details on that coming up.
First, here's a look at our tower camera, sponsored by R.E. Smith Construction as work continues in the KOAM More Power project, getting shorter. Check it out anytime on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com/power. A global outbreak of pediatric hepatitis has health officials on high alert. A mystery strain of the illness has been detected already in several U.S. states and close to a dozen countries globally. It's prompted the CDC to implement a nationwide health alert as they continue to monitor these cases. Fox News correspondent Molly Line has the latest now from Boston.
Health officials are on high alert following an unexplainable rise in hepatitis and adenovirus cases in children around the globe. Outbreaks of the two illnesses first began last October in Alabama. Since then, cluster infections of rare acute hepatitis have been detected in the U.S., Europe, and Asia. Health experts say many of the children who contracted the illness were previously healthy, and none had COVID-19 in the past.
So far, at least 169 cases of acute hepatitis have been reported from 11 countries in Europe and in the United States in children aged from 1 month to 16 years.
The outbreak has prompted the CDC to issue a national health alert. Doctors are asking parents to keep a close watch for symptoms for both illnesses, which include abdominal pain, diarrhea, and vomiting, among others. Hepatitis is often mild in children and can go undetected, but doctors warn that severe cases can require hospitalization and in some cases lead to liver failure.
There's always concern when we see that there's a cluster of some type of infection occurring, because we don't know if that means.
The rise in cases comes as another disease. Measles has surged 79% worldwide in children due to vaccination disruptions caused by COVID-19.
These illnesses are real and they can come back and we can have outbreaks.
The cause of the spike in hepatitis cases worldwide is not known at this time, but officials have ruled out any connection to COVID-19 and the COVID-19 vaccine, as most of the children who got ill were not eligible for the vaccine at that time. In Boston, Molly Line, Fox News.
All right, still ahead, smishing.
Well, the feds are issuing a new warning about text message scamming, or smishing as it is called. It is costing Americans big bucks. I'm Eben Brown in Miami. I'll have that story straight ahead.
If you have a cell phone, and if you don't, that's awesome. I respect that. It's getting hard to do these days, but that's cool. So if you do have a cell phone, though, you've probably gotten at least one of those unexpected text messages carrying a link just begging to be clicked, right? But the FTC is warning those links can be scams leading to identity theft. Fox's Eben Brown has more in this edition of our Fox on Tech series.
Oh, look, a text message from a number I don't know, CC'd to a bunch of other numbers I don't know, with a link in it. Some people get so many of these, they end up changing their phone number just to be spared. It's called smishing, a mashup of SMS, your standard text message format, and phishing, the act of trying to scam someone using electronics. It's a criminal act, and now the Federal Trade Commission is sounding the alarm. The agency says texting scams cost Americans more than $130 million last year, up from just $86 million in 2020. The practice is so widespread, it now accounts for a fifth of all fraud cases. In the month of March, Americans received 42 spam texts per person on average. And with the midterm elections just around the corner, regulators are predicting things will only get worse. But you can defend yourself against the scammers. Many smartphones and cellular networks offer spam protection, but the simplest thing to do is just stop clicking on links in text messages from strangers and block those numbers that send them.
Now, the chair of the FCC wants wireless providers to block illegal text messages, but that plan has not yet been adopted by the agency. In Miami, Eben Brown, Fox News.
Oh, the BlackBerry. All right, next, one of those videos, another one of them in a way, we can hopefully marvel at, showing the ingenuity of bears. So this furry friend in New York State might be smarter than the average bear. New York State Department of Environmental Conservation officials posted a video on Facebook of this bear hoping to walk right into a house. Look at him on the left there. If only he can get in, though. See him? He's looking around. The bear manages to open the screen door, and look at, he's got several tools. He's got his mouth, he's got his paws. But then, as we're going to find out, he's like, wait a minute, there's another door. Well, I don't know about this one. The post featured a line from Jurassic Park, by the way, of the characters feeling safe from two prehistoric raptors, quote, unless they figure out how to open doors. Bears are smart, right? Bears are smart. 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming your way. You're going to learn about an upcoming music festival coming to the 4 states.
A former Marine is released in a dramatic prisoner swap with Russia. Now families of other detained Americans are wondering when they'll see their loved ones. I'm Christina Coleman in Los Angeles. I've got the details coming up.
Pittsburgh State University is expected to have, an additional 5,000 people on campus this September, more than what's usual, of course, for one day only. KOAM's Chris Warner explains why.
The campus of Pittsburgh State University is home to thousands of students every year. This September, it'll play host to the first ever 4 States Music Festival, featuring a number of country music artists. Nick Noland is the owner of Social House Entertainment, which is putting on the festival.
You know, we just thought that it was a great opportunity, and I think there had been some kind of previous conversations where Pitt State wanted to do something like this, but didn't maybe know exactly how to do it or have the right partner. And and I stepped in and met Pitt State and just really kind of hit it off. And our visions were very much aligned, and we were off to the races.
Nolan says that made Pitt State a perfect fit for the festival and provided just what they were looking for in a venue.
So we're building it in the field right next to the football stadium there at Pitt State. So really it gives us kind of a blank canvas to start with to really build out kind of what we had envisioned.
One concern that's come up is alcohol on the campus. Pitt State President Dr. Steve Scott says they're already prepared.
We sell alcohol at our football games now. So that's not anything new to us. When I was here as a student, we used to sell alcohol in the student center. So sometimes these things come full circle. But I would say that we take that particular element of the shows seriously, and we'll be doing our due diligence leading up to the show to make sure that that's done appropriately.
Pittsburgh Deputy City Manager Jay Byers says all these visitors will have a big impact on the city as well.
Well, obviously, anytime you have 5,000 people in your town, you have sales tax implications. They will buy food, they will buy gas, things like that. And a lot of them will probably stay overnight in some of the hotels. So all of that has a very strong financial implication for the city.
In Pittsburgh, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
Nolan says there's going to be some contributions back to Pitt State from the festival. Tickets are on sale now, by the way. You can find out more information on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Some area students celebrated completion of a youth leadership program. Volunteers with the Pittsburgh Area Chamber Foundation held activities with 6th graders from schools in Crawford County on the importance of making a positive impact on the lives of others. Today, around 500 students graduated from the program. Congratulations, guys. Joplin Area Chamber of Commerce honored tonight companies and teachers for their dedication to the community. The awards were announced during a banquet. The Golden Apple Awards were given to Erica Doning, a teacher at Irving Elementary, Margie Black, teacher at St. Mary's Elementary, also Darren Morgan at South Middle School, and Aaron Flitterman, teacher at Thomas Jefferson Independent Day School. These teachers were nominated by students, parents, and co-workers. Businesses of the Year awards include Abernathy Roofing and Construction, representing the 1 to 50 employee category, the Ozark Center of the 51+ employee category, and Connect to Culture, representing the not-for-profit category. The Outstanding Citizen of the Year was presented to Harry M. Cornell, Jr. Well, new research by Washington State University says exaggerated cell phone use and even Wi-Fi exposure can increase chances of Alzheimer's. Analysts saw the data of previous studies on the illnesses and say consistent exposure to network radiation can cause a strong magnetic and electric impact in the body as they trigger internal channels that manage calcium levels, which is a clear sign of Alzheimer's. Scientists say the illness affects nearly 6 million people, sadly, in the U.S., and they expect this number to be 3 times higher by 2050. We're learning more about the dramatic prisoner exchange, which led to the release of former Marine Trevor Reed, who's now back on American soil. Fox News correspondent Christina Coleman has more from Los Angeles.
Trevor Reed is back home. He landed at a military base in San Antonio early Thursday morning after being held in a Russian prison for much of the past 3 years. The former Marine appeared frail as he was escorted to the plane that took him out of Moscow. A stark contrast to the man he was traded for, drug smuggler Konstantin Yaroshenko, who claimed he was mistreated while jailed in the U.S. The release came despite deteriorating relations between the U.S. and Russia as the war in Ukraine rages on.
I do believe that it's something positive to see that there is a line of communication between the United States and Russia.
Meantime, other Americans are still being held captive in Russia, including WNBA star Brittany Griner. The 2-time Olympic gold medalist was taken into custody in February after Russian officials allegedly found marijuana oil in her luggage, and former Marine Paul Whelan is stuck in Russia serving a 16-year sentence after he was convicted for espionage.
Our objective is to bring all Americans who are detained, who are held, who are away from their families, home from overseas.
We spoke with Paul Whelan's twin brother, David, shortly after the release of Trevor Reed. He says he is happy the Russians released Reed, though he wishes State Department officials would communicate with his family much more.
We sort of have a sense that the U.S. government will act in certain cases. And so why didn't they act in ours?
Paul Whelan was taken into custody in December of 2018. The 52-year-old is currently being forced to work in a Russian labor camp. In Los Angeles, Christina Coleman, Fox News.
A bit later, protesting against Russia.
A ban on Russian athletes at a Grand Slam tennis event is raising eyebrows. I'm Matt Napolitano. I'll explain just ahead.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a pretty good day for us today, despite having some scattered showers and thunderstorms that rotated through the area. But it looks like, as we go through the overnight hours tonight, we're going to get some additional storms. These are going to be mainly in our far northern counties. They may extend as far south as Interstate 44, so let's say the northern half of the region. Some stronger, doesn't look severe. Severe threat, though, tomorrow night. Severe threat on Monday. Of course, you can get my long-range forecast on my month-long blog, KOAMnewsnow.com. All right, mid-70s yesterday. Today, only mid-60s, just due to the clouds and the showers and thunderstorms we had earlier. So we're sitting low 60s all the way to upper 60s in our western counties. The winds are going to keep our temperatures up, so we're pretty close to where our overnight low is already at. We look pretty good. I don't think we're going to drop off too much more through the overnight hours. Outside, sitting at 63. Easterly winds 10 to 15. Humidity is at 75%. All the thunderstorms we had earlier today, these are gone. Most of us look pretty good. We've had a few random little showers kind of popping up in our northern counties, but we are going to get some additional thunderstorms later on tonight. These are going to get going in southeastern Kansas and then kind of lift up toward the north and to the east. In fact, let's go through time. Let's go through the next several hours. Here come the thunderstorms late tonight, so 3, 4, 5 o'clock, mainly affecting Yates Center, Fredonia, Neodesha, Iola, Chanute, Parsons, over toward Fort Scott by the morning hours. There may be a couple that get into Cherokee County or Burton County or Jasper County. But again, some of these are going to be strong, maybe even low-grade severe with some small hail. That's about it. Heat up tomorrow. We warm near 80 during the afternoon, 74 by noon. High temp at 79. It's going to be windy. Winds are going to gust at about 30 to 35. All right, tomorrow evening, thunderstorms erupt along the I-35 corridor. These aren't even going to get into our area until 10 or 11 o'clock, and that's our northwestern counties. These are going to produce very heavy amounts of rain, probably get some hail, most likely get some winds gusting 60 to 70, and there is a low tornado threat until these storms get to about the I-44 corridor, which doesn't occur until about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Then our severe threat will start to decrease. Overall, I'm not overly concerned, but most likely we're going to get some severe thunderstorms in here tomorrow night. Greater threat, western counties, where those storms really pop up for most of us, so 9 p.m. on the front end all the way to 5 a.m. on the back end. I'm going to keep the tornado threat low, but we're going to elevate rain and hail. 79 tomorrow, 73 on Saturday, 74 on Sunday. Thunderstorms back in Monday. Those could be strong to severe as well.
So an eventful start to the weekend.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, thank you. All right, coming up in sports, a local martial arts instructor earning his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Plus, battle of two of the best in the state as Columbus softball hitting the road to face Girard. Jacob Leonard has that and more after this break.
Softball teams in the state all season long. Both teams have just one loss coming into the night. Girard is 12-1, while Columbus is 14-1. Tonight, the Titans and Trojans square off in Girard, big CNC doubleheader. In Game 1, Lexi Robinson strikeout in the second there for Girard. Then in the third, check out Jalen Rodriguez for Columbus, making the diving grab. Great catch for Rodriguez. Now this here is the difference. Tie game, top of the seventh, runner on third. Aubrey Saporito bunts. Trojans fake to first. Then the throw to third gets away. Katie Simpson scores to make it 3-2 Columbus. Bottom of the seventh, Lexi Robinson hits it hard. But Tori Tedlock runs it down out there and right. More great defense for the Titans. Columbus holds on to win game one, 3-2. So here we go to game two. I'm telling you, man, Titans defense great all night. Lexi Stone out there and left, making the diving grab. Then the bats get going for the Titans. Tori Tedlock rips one into right. That brings KT Lopp home. Columbus out to the early lead. Now they were up 5-0 in the bottom of the seventh, but Emmeline Sinnott keeps it from being a shutout. Solo home run for Sinnott. Gracie Major, complete game. That was the only run she gave up. Titans take game 2, 5-1 to sweep the night from Girard.
Those wins were important to us. That was something that we wanted. However, we have to stay focused. I told them I don't want a doubleheader to be the biggest part of our season. So they got to stay focused and keep working. We have a lot to do still.
Frontenac baseball is on the road tonight for a CNC doubleheader against Galena. And it could be a special night for Raiders head coach Bill Sullivan. And Sullivan needs just one win to reach 300 wins in his coaching career. And look at this. He gets 2 tonight. Raiders win game 1 13-4 and game 2 2-1. So Sullivan tops the 300 win mark for his coaching career. Here he is on getting that milestone.
We've had a lot of great guys come through in the last 23 years that have been a big part of this. Everybody has a piece of it, I feel. There's probably a couple hundred, 250, 300 guys have had a part in this, and it just means a lot that I've been around that long to be fortunate enough to do it.
We were all really wanting to do it for him. He's been a great coach for us. He really wants the best for his kids, and so he's always pushed us to be the best, but he lets us have fun and enjoy it.
I want him to come away. We all talk about being better people, and honestly, they've made me a better person.
A local martial arts instructor recently earned his black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and we caught up with him to talk about his journey and how he's bringing the sport to the Pittsburgh community.
Pittsburgh's Andrew Brown got a bit of a late start in his martial arts career.
Well, I had an epiphany around the age of 21, and I kind of had that thing growing up like most people in general. They think that when something goes down, I'm going to be able to just handle it. And then I had this epiphany. It's like, I don't know anything about anything. I need to actually learn how to defend myself and, take my life in a positive direction.
Despite his late start, Brown has worked for nearly 15 years and last month earned his black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Right before blue belt is when I stopped worrying about what belt I was going to get. I was just like, I'm just going to train. I'm going to do this the rest of my life, and when it happens, it happens. These are all my peers. I don't see myself as better than anybody in this room. If you're in here working with me, we're equal. And so they were all giving me crap. They're like, "Oh, professor," and I'm like, "It's Andrew, guys. Come on."
With the black belt comes a step up in competition for Brown.
There's going to be guys in my division that were winning the world championships when they were in their 20s, and I'll be 36 this year. So those guys have been black belts since they were 20, 21 years old, and I just got mine. So I've got some big shoes to start filling in. But I'm up for the challenge, and I want to lead by example for my students. I don't want them to be afraid of stepping out of their comfort zone and getting out there and testing themselves.
It also means more responsibility off the mat.
It's not just about getting the belt in the martial art or you're tough or this or that. You have to hold yourself to a higher standard around people. You have to lead by example. I've got 30 adults and 10 kids in here that, whether I like it or not, they look up to me, and I have to, if it's in here, if it's out there, I try to be cordial, polite, be kind, and you have to hold yourself to a higher standard, I believe.
Brown spends most of his time passing along what he's learned to his students at Arise Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in Pittsburgh. He's hoping to give the next generation something he didn't have growing up, and maybe a chance to earn a black belt of their own.
I don't want to be the last. I want there to be more. I want every person that comes in here to achieve that, if that's what their goal is, I wish I had access to jiu-jitsu when I first started. We were at the YMCA on wrestling mats, looking YouTube videos up and learning takedowns from wrestlers. But if I had somebody to instruct me the right way and show me the small details in the beginning, it would have been amazing.
Brown teaches jiu-jitsu classes for both kids and adults in Pittsburgh. You can check out a class schedule in this story on the sports page at KOAMnewsnow.com. And that's it for sports. We're back.
And taking action in response to the war in Ukraine, and that action is getting strong responses from the rest of the tennis world. Fox's Matt Napolitano has this story.
After being scrapped by the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 and rescheduled last year with protocols in place, it seemed like this year would bring a return to normal for Wimbledon, but officials have announced that Russian and Belarusian players won't be allowed to compete at All England. Among those against the decision are the organizations that oversee the men's and women's tennis tours, including the Women's Tennis Association, which released a statement that read in part, quote, "Discrimination and the decision to focus such discrimination against athletes competing on their own as individuals is neither fair nor justified." However, All England chairman Ian Hewitt says even allowing Russian and Belarusian players who are against the war presents problems.
We would risk their successful participation at Wimbledon being used to benefit the propaganda machine of the Russian regime.
Number 1 ranked men's player Novak Djokovic knows something about being banned. He was not allowed to stay in Australia to compete in the Australian Open over issues related to his not being vaccinated against COVID-19. And Djokovic, who is Serbian, disagrees with Wimbledon's ban on Russians and Belarusians, saying, quote, "I will never support war, being myself a child of war. However, I cannot support the decision of Wimbledon. I think it is crazy. When politics interferes with sport, the result is not good." The ban by Wimbledon is the first time it's being done on the grounds of nationality since the post-World War II era when German and Japanese players were excluded. In New York, Matt Napolitano, Fox News.
Coming up, going to check out what's new at those movie theaters, also at-home streaming options. Action thrillers on the big screen, while a couple of big series wrap up on streaming. Here's Fox's Ash Dvorkin with a look at this week's new releases.
I'm the bad man.
The Liam Neeson action flick Memory is in theaters nationwide.
The retainer for your services is $10 million.
Neeson stars as an expert assassin with a memory beginning to falter, who refuses his latest job and goes on a mission to hunt those who hired him.
They got us lost in our own minds.
In theaters, on digital, and on demand is The Aviary with Malin Ackerman, Lorenza Izzo, and Chris Messina. The thriller follows two women who flee a cult, but are haunted by the feeling they're being followed by the cult's leader.
Really? You? Track tryout?
On streaming, Hulu adds Crush, about an aspiring artist who joins her high school track team, hoping to pursue her crush, but instead falls for an unexpected teammate.
It was a crazy ride.
Netflix has the 7th and final season of its longest-running original series, Grace and Frankie, starring Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin as the adventurous BFFs.
I'm just sick of having blood on my hands, Wendy.
It's also a goodbye to the birds with part 2 of the 4th and final season of Ozark.
Why do you choose everyone else over your family?
And after the finale, the streamer drops a farewell to Ozark, a 30-minute retrospective looking back at the award-winning series. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. Going to leave you with video of a robot living with some penguins in Antarctica. Be safe. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.